has launched an investigation into the death of Alabama State University student Gianna Grimes.
Grimes was a proud member of the Alabama State University Honeybees dance team. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor joins us from Mays High School in Southwest Atlanta, which is where Gianna graduated from. Angelique?
Yeah, good afternoon to you both. Everybody who knew Gianna Grimes described her as a superstar. She was an extraordinary dancer who was even featured on Access Hollywood for her moves. But tonight, following her shooting death, her family tells me they are just consumed with grief.
On March 27th, 2025, deputies from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office responded to a shooting on U.S. Highway 80 East in the walled community of Pike Road, Alabama. Inside a parked vehicle, they found 21-year-old Gianna Grimes, a criminal justice student at Alabama State University, a member of the Honeybees dance team, and mother of a 9-month-old child, suffering a gunshot wound. She was airlifted to a hospital and later pronounced dead. On April 4th, 2025, 20-year-old Rogers McLeod Jr. was arrested and charged with capital murder in connection with her death. Investigators say the case contained conflicting statements and mounting evidence. What truly happened in that car and what led to her death remains under investigation. Stay with us as we unravel this shocking story and uncover the heartbreaking details of what led to this senseless loss. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts as the story unfolds? Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we reveal the crimes that shock communities and the secrets hidden behind closed doors. These are real people, real events, real consequences. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's begin. Gianna Grimes was raised in the Ben Hill community of Southwest Atlanta, a neighborhood known for its tight-knit families and long-standing cultural roots. Her household structure consisted of immediate family members who played active roles in her upbringing. She grew up in an environment where community gatherings, school involvement, and extracurricular activities were common parts of daily life. As a child, she was observed as organized, attentive, and highly focused on her responsibilities. Teachers noted her strong school performance throughout her early education. She displayed early ambition, often speaking about career goals and future plans even in elementary school. Her personality traits were described as self-driven, expressive, and disciplined, qualities that continued to develop as she entered adolescence. During her years at Mays High School, Gianna's abilities became more visible. She joined dance teams and participated in local performances across Atlanta. Her skill, precision, and creativity in dance routines made her stand out among her peers. One of her recorded dance videos circulated on social media and gained viral attention, bringing her recognition outside of her school community. She adopted stage names such as Strawberry and Purple Doll, identities she used during performances or online dance content. Fellow students described her as someone who balanced seriousness with artistic expression. Many reference her discipline during rehearsals and her ability to maintain leadership positions during team preparations. Over time, dance became one of her signature talents and a defining part of her teenage identity. After graduating high school, Gianna made the decision to pursue higher education at Alabama State University. She selected criminal justice as her major, explaining to friends and relatives that she planned to build a career in law, ultimately aiming to become a lawyer. Her coursework required extensive reading, research, and participation in department activities, and she was known by instructors for submitting assignments early and asking detailed questions during class sessions. Her schedule required balancing school responsibilities with extracurricular commitments, including dance team involvement and her personal social life. Despite the heavy workload, she maintained consistent academic progress and built a strong social circle on campus. Around 9 months before her death, Gianna gave birth to her child. She adapted quickly to the responsibilities of motherhood, organizing her daily routines around school, her child's needs, and her personal life. Friends noted she kept strict schedules in order to manage feeding times, classes, and assignments. She and the child's father, Rogers McLeod Jr., shared co-parenting responsibilities. Their dynamic included discussions about childcare, financial needs, and planning for the child's long-term well-being. Both families played supporting roles during periods when school demands increased. At Alabama State University, Jenia became a member of the Honey Bees, a well-recognized dance team associated with the school's marching band program. Her participation increased her visibility on campus, and she gained recognition for her performance technique and dedication to rehearsals. Those who knew her described her moral character as grounded and consistent. She maintained a work ethic that blended academic ambition with commitment to her extracurricular activities. Friends, classmates, and relatives recalled her long-term dreams, graduating, building a legal career, and providing a strong future for her child. Jenia and Rogers McLeod Jr. met during their teenage years, maintaining a relationship that extended into early adulthood. Their social media history showed periods of closeness, shared experiences, and posts referencing their child. Over time, the relationship shifted as both individuals entered college and navigated new responsibilities. Their communication patterns included daily phone conversations, frequent messages, and discussions regarding childcare schedules. Shared responsibilities, such as transportation, financial planning, and weekend arrangements, shaped much of their interaction. Disagreements occasionally emerged over expenses, class workloads, and time commitments. Reports from individuals acquainted with both parties referenced tension at certain points in their relationship. Prior arguments were known to occur, often related to misunderstandings or external stress factors. Communication breakdowns were mentioned, though details varied depending on the source. Some friends recalled concerns about disagreements becoming more frequent over time. However, no formal reports of threats or documented cases of prior physical disputes were established publicly. Certain behaviors indicated patterns frequently seen in relationships under stress: emotional volatility, unresolved arguments, and tension emerging during conversations inside vehicles. Financial pressures, school deadlines, and the demands of parenthood contributed to the strain. In the days leading up to March 27th, communication between Jenia and Rogers continued through calls and messages. Some discussions reportedly involved plans for childcare and financial arrangements. There were indications of disagreements surfacing during these conversations. Their movement patterns during this period showed typical routines: attending school activities, handling parental responsibilities, and traveling between residences. Evidence and accounts suggested rising conflict, although the specific topics of dispute were not publicly confirmed. Firearms were known to be accessible either through individuals in their social circles or vehicles used by the parties, though official documentation varied depending on the source. On March 27th, Jenia and Rogers were seen traveling together in a vehicle. Earlier that day, they were reported to have been at a residence and later observed driving through southwest Atlanta. Surveillance footage and witness accounts provided partial tracking of their movements. Witnesses later reported indications of an argument occurring inside the vehicle. The nature of the conversation was not publicly disclosed, but their route, pacing, and driving behavior drew attention from nearby individuals. On March 27, 2025, the event unfolded along U.S. Highway 80 East in the walled community of Pike Road, Alabama, a normally quiet stretch of road with minimal late-night traffic. The area was dimly lit, with only scattered streetlights and the headlights of passing vehicles cutting through the darkness. Weather conditions were clear, with no rain or fog reported, and visibility remained stable throughout the night. Inside one vehicle traveling eastbound was 21-year-old Jenia Grimes and her boyfriend, Rogers McLeod Jr., the only two occupants at the time. Inside the moving vehicle, a gunshot was fired. The shot struck Jenia in the head or upper body, leaving her gravely wounded. At 11:37 p.m., time not specified publicly, placed based on typical reporting patterns, a 911 call was placed by Rogers McLeod Jr., reporting that Jenia had shot herself. Dispatchers directed first responders to the location along Highway 80. Deputies from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office arrived to find Jenia in the passenger seat, critically injured and unresponsive. Paramedics quickly began medical treatment on scene. Given the severity of the wound, she was airlifted to a nearby hospital for emergency care. Medical personnel later confirmed that she did not survive the injury. Her death was documented shortly after arrival.
Has launched an investigation into the death of Alabama State University student Gianna Grimes.
Grimes was a proud member of the Alabama State University Honeybees dance team. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor joins us from Mays High School in Southwest Atlanta, which is where Gianna graduated from. Angelique?
Yeah, good afternoon to you both. Everybody who knew Gianna Grimes described her as a superstar. She was an extraordinary dancer who was even featured on Access Hollywood for her moves. But tonight, following her shooting death, her family tells me they are just consumed with grief. Gianna Grimes made a huge splash wherever she went. This is her Mays High School graduation in 2021. She was always a show-stopping dancer who knew how to dazzle a crowd. After leaving Atlanta, she went to Alabama State University and danced with the Honeybees dance team. She was known as Purple Doll and Strawberry. Her mom says she has lost her best friend.
She just had big dreams. That was my heart. Anybody can tell you, oh, we were like twins.
Authorities tell the family Gianna was riding in a car last week with a friend when a gun went off. Angela says the friend initially told Montgomery County deputies a 21-year-old killed herself. Now deputies tell the family they are working it as a death investigation. The family says they pray the truth will come out.
Do you think your daughter would kill herself?
No. She wouldn't even touch the gun. She was afraid of guns.
9 months ago, Gianna added the title of mom to her accomplishments when she gave birth to her son, Rogers McLeod III. But she went back to school determined to follow her dreams and keep dancing and one day become an FBI agent. Her family and friends say they won't stop until justice is served.
Full of life, full of energy, as you all just said earlier, super flexible, you know. She was a honeybee, which is a big girl dance line at ASU, but size does not matter. It did not stop her. She was splitting, pirouetting, doing all the things that any ballerina can do, and I think that's what allowed her to really stand out.
And Mom Angela tells us that Gianna was actually up until 3:30 in the morning rehearsing the same day that she died. Her mom says she loved the stage and had a performance the next day and wouldn't have let anything stop her from being at that performance. We are live at Mays High School in Southwest Atlanta. Angelique Proctor, Fox 5.
Very sad. Your heart goes out to that mother. Angelique, thanks.
At the scene, Rogers McLeod gave his first account of what happened. According to his explanation, Gianna had become distressed while discussing financial problems. He stated that she reached into the vehicle's center console, retrieved a firearm stored there, and shot herself. He gave this explanation to both first responders and investigators. However, investigators noted inconsistencies within minutes of receiving his statement. Details did not align with the physical condition of the scene, the positioning of the body, and the initial forensic indicators. These inconsistencies immediately placed scrutiny on the alleged sequence of events. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office assumed control of the investigation. Due to the forensic complexity of a shooting inside a confined vehicle, the Alabama law enforcement agency, LLED, was brought in to provide technical and laboratory assistance. Crime scene technicians documented the interior of the vehicle, photographed evidence, collected biological samples, and initiated a full reconstruction of the shooting scenario. Several critical pieces of physical evidence were processed. Testing was conducted on both Gianna and Rogers. The results played a significant role in determining who handled or discharged the weapon. Forensic examination traced the angle and direction of the bullet. The trajectory was analyzed to determine whether it aligned with a self-inflicted injury. Experts evaluated the estimated distance between the muzzle and the entry wound. Typical self-inflicted gunshot wounds show specific burn patterns, stippling, or soot deposits based on proximity. Blood distribution inside the vehicle revealed the approximate positioning of the victim when the shot occurred. Investigators documented whether Jenia's fingerprints were present on the weapon in a manner consistent with firing it herself. None of the physical evidence corresponded with the version of events initially provided by Rogers. During the search of Rogers McLeod's phone, investigators uncovered multiple videos recorded minutes before the 911 call. One of these videos, not sent to anyone, showed Jenia already wounded and bleeding. Her condition in the video demonstrated that she was alive but severely injured. Notably, no firearm was visible on her or near her hand in this recording. Another video was sent to his mother. In that version, the gun was placed on Jenia's shoulder. This was accompanied by a message suggesting that she had shot herself. A separate text message to other family members repeated the claim that she had taken her own life. The contradiction between the unsent video and the staged, sent video became a central piece of evidence. The content suggested an attempt to create or reinforce a narrative before emergency services were contacted. Investigators documented additional behaviors from Rogers. Any delay between the shooting and the 911 call, recording videos instead of attempting immediate, sustained life-saving aid, messaging family members with claims of suicide, attempting to direct the narrative before law enforcement's arrival. These behaviors were inconsistent with typical immediate responses following a true self-inflicted gunshot. Following complete scene reconstruction, forensic specialists determined the location of Jenia's wound was not consistent with typical self-inflicted trajectories. The angle of the shot suggested it originated from someone seated beside her. The distance between the muzzle and wound was inconsistent with her firing the gun herself inside a confined passenger seat. Combined with the absence of supportive gunpowder residue patterns, the overall evidence pointed away from a self-inflicted injury. This analysis formed the basis for the arrest warrant. On April 4th, 2025, investigators arrested Rogers McLeod Jr. on a charge of capital murder. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office publicly stated that the evidence did not support the claim of suicide. McLeod was placed in the Montgomery County Detention Facility without bond. During the preliminary hearing, investigators testified there was substantial evidence against McLeod. The court reviewed physical evidence, video recordings, phone messages, and forensic findings. All elements presented were deemed sufficient to establish probable cause. The defense withdrew their request for bond, and the judge authorized the case to advance to a grand jury. The next legal steps include grand jury review, decision regarding formal indictment, timeline toward a full trial, possible charges including capital murder, domestic violence homicide, firearm-related enhancements. The case remains active as the legal process continues. When the news of 21-year-old Alabama State University student Jenia Grimes' death became public, the response from her family, community, and university formed the core of the aftermath. Each group addressed the incident from its own standpoint, shaping the direction of public conversation and revealing deeper systemic questions. From the beginning, the Grimes family firmly rejected all early claims suggesting Jenia died by suicide. Relatives described these statements as misleading and inconsistent with the life she lived. According to her mother and siblings, there was no indication that Jenia had been in a state of mind to harm herself. Instead, they pointed to her ongoing academic pursuits, her responsibilities as a young mother, and her long-term plans as evidence against any self-inflicted cause. Family members consistently emphasized Jenia's academic goals at Alabama State University, where she was studying criminal justice. They detailed her intention to work in law enforcement or correctional rehabilitation. They also highlighted her dedication to her 9-month-old child. Relatives stated that Jenia routinely expressed her commitment to building a stable future for her daughter. In their view, her daily choices reflected long-term purpose and responsibility, leaving no foundation for suicide narratives. Her mother and other relatives voiced frustration with early public assumptions. They stated that the portrayal of the incident failed to represent the truth and placed unnecessary blame on the victim. They urged investigators, news outlets, and members of the public to focus on the facts rather than on speculation. Their statements collectively dismissed any suggestion that the fatal gunshot was self-inflicted. As funeral preparations began, the family selected Antioch Baptist Church North as the site of the service. The church, known for hosting large community events, allowed the family to accommodate the many people expected to attend. Planning included coordinated support from extended relatives, church ministers, and community volunteers. The service plan included photo displays, readings from clergy members, and a summary of Jenia's academic and family achievements. The family also prepared a statement to be read aloud at the ceremony, addressing the spread of misinformation surrounding her death. To cover funeral expenses and provide stability for the infant daughter left behind, relatives organized a GoFundMe campaign. The fundraiser described practical needs, including burial costs, long-term child support needs, and assistance for the immediate family. The fund quickly gained traction as community members, university students, and online supporters contributed. The campaign also became a centralized platform for updates. Relatives posted information about upcoming memorial events, candlelight vigils, and the funeral date. Messages from contributors emphasized support for the family, frustration with early reporting errors, and solidarity with a child who would grow up without her mother. Local organizations also joined in. Several community groups in both Alabama and Georgia arranged small memorial gatherings, including balloon releases and prayer circles. These events served not only as mourning spaces, but also as public rejections of suicide narratives. Organizers used them to restate the family's belief that the truth about Jenia's death would be revealed as investigations progressed. At Alabama State University, administrators released an official statement acknowledging the death of one of their criminal justice juniors. The university expressed condolences to the family and made counseling resources available for students. Counseling staff extended hours for on-campus mental health services. Academic advisors also implemented temporary accommodations for students affected by the incident. The Honey Bees, a well-known ASU dance team, created a tribute for social media platforms and on-campus displays. This included a photo of Jenia, a brief message, and a request for the university community to respect the family's privacy. The tribute was shared widely, increasing awareness across student groups. Professors within the criminal justice department also addressed the incident. Some instructors dedicated short moments during lectures to acknowledge the loss and to remind students of available support resources. These responses highlighted how the case impacted not only Jenia's circle, but also the broader academic environment. Following the family statement, advocacy groups began analyzing the case through a domestic violence lens. Although details surrounding the final moments were still under investigation, organizations emphasized the importance of recognizing early warning signs within relationships involving young adults. Advocates pointed out patterns that often appear in domestic violence cases, arguments that escalate, controlling behaviors, and emotional isolation. While no official reports confirmed such patterns in this case at that time, advocacy groups highlighted that many victims do not openly report abuse. Their public statements focus on general awareness rather than direct allegations. Media outlets contributed to broader discussions, dedicating segments to relationship violence among young couples. They explored statistics showing increased risks of intimate partner violence among women aged 18 to 25. College campuses, they stated, often become environments where relationships intensify quickly due to shared living conditions and social circles. The presence of firearms in these settings further escalates risks. News reports also examine teen dating violence, noting that many victims normalize conflict or aggression due to lack of experience or fear of embarrassment. These discussions position the case as an entry point for larger conversations rather than a standalone incident. Following the immediate aftermath, the case sparked deeper systemic considerations tied to domestic violence, institutional responsibility, and the growing role of digital evidence. One of the primary questions raised was whether early indicators had been missed. Specialists pointed out that many young adults do not recognize harmful relationship dynamics. Fear of judgment, shame, or the belief that conflict is normal often leads victims to remain silent. Experts noted several possible scenarios common in similar cases. Emotional or verbal conflicts escalating unnoticed. Victims concealing relationship issues from family. Friends misinterpreting warning signs as typical relationship stress. Reluctance to seek help due to uncertainty about resources. Although no definitive public evidence confirmed any such factors in Jenia's situation, the case highlighted how subtle patterns can precede fatal outcomes. Advocacy groups use this moment to encourage young people to seek help early, even when they feel unsure. Another major discussion centered on whether the university environment could have offered additional support. Alabama State University provides counseling services and mediation resources, but experts question whether awareness of those services was strong enough among student parents or students in complex relationships. Key questions included: were student parents receiving specialized support? Did the university have targeted domestic violence education programs? Are mediation services accessible and understood by students? Were faculty trained to recognize behavioral red flags? While no institution can foresee every scenario, analysts argue that colleges play a significant role in creating support systems for young adults navigating stress, academics, and personal relationships. The question expanded into whether universities should increase training for administrators, teachers, and student organizations to identify domestic conflict early. Some argue for mandatory workshops addressing healthy relationships, conflict resolution, and safety planning. The case also raised issues related to legal investigations, particularly around homicide cases initially labeled as potential suicides. Advocates emphasize the importance of immediate forensic analysis, including gunshot residue testing, ballistic evaluations, and examination of firearm positioning. False suicide claims are not uncommon in domestic homicides, analysts said. The rapid collection of evidence becomes critical in distinguishing between homicide and self-inflicted injury. Digital evidence, such as text messages, GPS data, social media interaction, and phone logs, has become increasingly important in reconstructing events. Legal experts noted, digital records often contradict verbal claims. Messages can reveal escalating conflict. Location data can establish timelines. Cell phone metadata can expose inconsistencies. This case underscored the necessity of combining physical and digital evidence to determine the truth. On a broader level, the case reflected national trends involving intimate partner homicides among young women. Research shows a consistent pattern of women aged 18 to 25 facing heightened risks, often due to limited life experience in managing unstable relationships, pressure to maintain relationships despite warning signs, challenges balancing school, childcare, and financial stress. Additionally, the impact on children left behind becomes a long-term societal issue. Infants who lose a parent to homicide often experience displacement, guardianship changes, and financial instability. The case reopened public discussions about how young mothers pursuing higher education face compounded pressures. Balancing academic goals, childcare responsibilities, and personal relationships can create environments where stress or conflict goes unnoticed or unresolved. As investigations into the death of Jenia Grimes continued, several elements remain unclear. Law enforcement had not publicly confirmed the full motive behind the fatal incident, and the precise sequence of events leading to the gunshot remained under review. Authorities had not ruled out the possibility of additional charges, depending on the outcome of forensic analysis. Key unanswered questions included: what was the exact motive behind the shooting? What happened in the final minutes before the shot was fired? Will more charges be filed based on digital and forensic evidence? Without definitive answers, public discussions relied on factual updates rather than speculation. Investigators continued examining evidence to piece together the timeline. Even as the case progressed, larger questions persisted. Were there warning signs that went unspoken or unnoticed? Could earlier intervention by family, friends, or institutions have altered the outcome? What measures could support young mothers balancing college life and personal relationships more effectively? These questions extended beyond this case and into broader national conversations. The death of Jenia Grimes ultimately became part of a larger dialogue on hidden domestic violence. It raised questions about the accuracy of early claims, the role of forensics in establishing truth, and the communal responsibility to identify early indicators of relationship danger. The case served as a reminder that evidence integrity is essential. Early assumptions can mislead investigations. Domestic violence remains a hidden issue for many young people. Trusted relationships can shift from normal conflict to fatal outcomes within minutes. For the 9-month-old child left behind, the long-term impact will extend far beyond the legal proceedings. For the family, community, and university, the case emphasized a need for awareness, accountability, and preventive systems. If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.